Welcome viewers, welcome to My Startup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty from Hyderabad studio in India. Today is our first live broadcast from Africa in Tanzania, and our anchor Jayashree would be hosting a special guest from Tanzania. So let's quickly jump into it. Well, Jayashree, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Major. Coming to all of you from Tanzania and East Africa, from the beautiful city of Dar es Salaam. I'm Jayashree, and I'm going to be bringing you very exciting news from the world of African startups. Good evening
And
to all of you.
Jayashree, good evening to you. And Jayashree, the very fact that we were able to launch Africa, My Startup TV Africa, you just saw the teaser that we created for, we try to cover or capture all the lively colors that come from Africa, right? And we're hoping that, going forward, you would bring stories, be it founders, startup events, enablers, accelerators, in your program, in your news, interviews and panel discussions, which will be as vibrant as the colors of Africa.
Absolutely, Major. The teaser, the video we just played, it is very exciting and truly captures the vividness and the exciting potential in Africa. It is the youngest continent, and the world is looking at the African startup community with a lot of expectations, and there's a lot of potential here. So I would be very happy to bring very important and exciting developments in the startup sector across Africa, not just in East Africa where I am. There are a lot of important companies from all across the world that are investing in harnessing the potential in this part of the world. So I will start with a very important news that has recently come up, that the National Basketball Association in the US is going to invest heavily to start an accelerator program in Africa. They are going to specifically target early stage sporting and creative industries startups. Creative sectors would be a better word, especially in areas of event management, ticketing, youth development, artificial intelligence, and digital marketing.
So Jeffrey, when you talk about NBA, the NBA will say this is the US Basketball Association, right? So sports is one component. What is the other component or other sector that they are going to be investing in, or they're going to be working with startups?
The other industries, they are mostly looking at sporting and creative industries. Now that can encompass a wide range of startups and entrepreneurship ideas in this part of the world. NBA is especially interested because they have been noticing an increase in engagement, especially online engagement from basketball enthusiasts in Africa for NBA games and live telecasts.
And what does it involve? I mean, are they going to be investing into these startups? Is there a mentoring component to it? So could you just share some insight into that as well?
I'm sorry, Major, slightly loudly. I'm missing out on a little bit of volume here.
Okay, I said, what kind of support is the NBA going to provide to entrepreneurs and startups from Africa?
Okay, so the NBA is looking for 10 extraordinary startups who will receive mentorship from NBA Africa, ALX, their incubator partner or accelerator partner, and other stakeholders who are in their network. They will be giving these startups guidance focusing on product development, business growth, and go-to-market strategy. And the NBA has said in their official statement that this accelerator is aligned with American President Joe Biden's Digital Transformation with Africa initiative and the US Department of Commerce's Africa strategy.
Let me remind the viewers that we are coming live from Tanzania and Africa. Jayashree is joining from she's a bureau head, Africa bureau head for My Startup TV Africa. We are doing the first live show from Africa, and I'm Major Sunil joining from Hyderabad in India. And if you wanted to follow this program, follow what's happening in this world of startups from across the world. Currently, we are available from India and Africa. Do follow us. Do subscribe to our channel. We are a web television available across different social media platforms. We also have a magazine which goes by My Startup Life. We are also the world's first OTT platform dedicated to startups and entrepreneurs. You could download our app, our OTT app from Google Play Store and iOS. We also have podcast which is on Spotify. So if you want to capture, if you want to hear live interviews and extract of the interviews, you can go to Spotify, My Startup Podcast. So Jayashree, coming back to you, what's the next headline?
So another exciting headline is that Google is having a part of their business called Google Startups Accelerator Africa. Now they are inviting applications for their 2024 cohort in Africa. They are inviting from seed to Series A tech startups who are building innovative solutions in their communities in Africa. This program will offer equity-free support, Google Cloud credits, mentorship, workshops, and access to the Google Global Network.
So they are not going to be putting any money as such, but it's going to be more of a credit that they would be giving, which is what is the Google model, at least in India as well. That's what we see.
Yes, this is one of the program benefits that they are going to be training these startups without any interest in equity. There would be an equity-free support, but up to like 350,000 American dollars in Google Cloud credits to scale any startup's infrastructure and technology.
Okay. And what's the next headline?
The next headline is that the prestigious Y Combinator in US has picked a francophone startup, which is the French-speaking part of Africa. There is a startup in Senegal called Wave. It's a fintech startup. They have been identified by Y Combinator as Africa's only startup which is an earner on Y Combinator. Africa's only Y Combinator startup which is a high earner. For those who do not know, Y Combinator has a portfolio of 92 African startups. Among them, this is the very profitable and revenue generating one, which is the most important benchmark for any startup, I suppose.
And definitely, such events encourages other startups and founders, youth, to come forward and come up with new ideas and venture into the world of entrepreneurship.
True, very true. What is very exciting here is that Francophone Africa the news from Francophone Africa often get missed because the news is coming in French and the English speaking world may not understand it, but Wave is doing such phenomenal work that it is getting noticed across the world. Wave and the Flutter Wave in Nigeria are two very exciting startups from the African continent.
And that brings us to the next segment where our own guest today, Emmanuel, who's doing great job, with his startup. So do you want to get into that? And over to you.
So yes, I'm very excited to have Emmanuel from a company called Bizzyn.com in Tanzania. So what Bizzyn is a management and business and financial management software that works with startups and small and medium companies to take care of their daily management and financial inventory management, such things. So we have with us Emmanuel. I'm very excited to have him on the show. Please, everyone, welcome to the show, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much, Diana.
So I'll start with a few questions on your company's focus and what got you to develop Bizzyn.com. But before that, why don't you tell us all about Bizzyn.com and what are you people? What you and your team are creating?
Perfect. Thank you. So, Bizzyn is actually a cloud-based accounting and a financial management software, which really helps the small, medium to large enterprises to manage their company finance more effectively and easily. We're talking about the companies which we enable them to track their expenses, receiving payments, customizing invoices, and running the financial reports, as well as giving them the power of financial data. Most of the challenge that these SMEs in Africa are facing is inability to access working capital from financial institutions simply because they were lacking financial data. So what Bizzyn does is that it bridges the gap that the MSMEs and the microfinances that they actually had. So we empower these small business owners with the tools which enable them to keep track of their daily sales. That comes into part of the point of sales, inventory management, accessing capital from financial companies, financial institutions such as banks and other micro lenders. So we empower them with the tools which enable them to keep track of their financial, and thereafter we actually connect them with financiers such as banks and other micro lenders.
Okay, but so what inspired you to come up with this kind of a solution? Is there any story to it? Why Bizzyn.com?
Well, perfect. It's too exciting. I'm coming from a background where my family has a business, so they actually run different types of business. So my family comes into construction companies, and have other cousins who runs different small business such as supermarkets and other cosmetic shops around the country. So I used to see how cumbersome it is for them to manage their customers, to manage their sales, inventory management, warehousing, transfer of goods, and as well as accessing working capital from these financial institutions. So being growing up and sees how cumbersome it was for my family to actually manage their business, I actually thought I should create something which is easy for them to access, to use in terms of user-friendly platform for them to manage their business. So I introduced the platform to my family business, and they actually started using it. So the good thing is that they actually started sharing the platform with their friends, with their other companies. And then we came to realize that so many companies in Tanzania, they're actually looking for a simplified way for them to manage their business. And thereafter, it keeps on, scaling across the country. And then we said, I met with one co-founder, Basi, during the time when I was at the university. And as you all know, that we actually being placed into intentions as part of a curriculum. So when we went to those different companies, we also found the same challenge that my family business were actually facing. And then we say that if we really manage to help these small business to manage their finances, to keep record of their financials and getting connected to the financial institutions for them to access working capital, then why not to this company that we have been doing an internship at the students? After we graduated from the university, we sat down and then we went to those companies that were actually doing internship. We introduced the platform. It was so amazing because of the usability. It was made actually for for their own issues, their own problems. And thereafter they started using the platform, they fell in love with it, and then they started referring the platform to other companies. And then we saw the scalability of the platform, and thereafter we started working full time in making sure that we are providing the assistance to this number of customers who were already using the platform at that particular time. Yes.
That's a very impressive journey. And could you tell us about the kind of people who are using your software right now? What kind of sectors they are from? What are the companies these are? What kind of startups are associated with you?
Well, perfect. So actually, Bizzyn is engineered to scale this small business as they grow, from financial institutions to sales to building and beyond. So the sector that we actually target, which has a large number of users, comes from the small companies. When I'm talking about the small companies, I'm talking about the companies that are making less than $10,000 a year. So we're talking about these companies, small business, which are situated into malls, small shops across the country. And thereafter, we have medium companies who are using the platform, and these companies which are making over 50,000 years annual revenue for them. And thereafter, we have enterprise companies. This we're talking about the large companies, which are have large capex, and they are making more than $100,000 as a turnover in a year. And in terms of sector wise, we have customers in different sectors such as clothing, pharmaceuticals companies, talking about construction companies, and and other companies, especially basing on oil and mining. We have few companies on that sector as well.
Okay. So that brings me to the next part of the question, that while this is a very impressive project and you're trying to reach out to all these people, we know that startups in Africa often face with internet connectivity and data cost problems, and the digital infrastructure leaves a lot to be desired. How does your solution sort of work around this problem, or how do you come across tackle this problem?
Oh well, perfect. That's a great question. When we sat down at the team, we had customer centric view. So we actually wanted to create something which is usable based in African environment. We all understand the cumbersomeness when it comes to business in Africa, and one of the issues it comes into data accessibility, the internet issues, and all those kind of things. So we created a platform with that kind of mindset. So we created Bizzyn. So we actually created Bizzyn based on that. So Bizzyn is actually So and if a person doesn't have the internet, that means that once he gets connected to the internet, their data are synchronized into the cloud. So for easier accessibility for them on the time that they actually need to choose the data. So Bizzyn is offline and online platform catering to the needs of the SMEs in Africa.
So that's a wonderful story. And what are the major achievements that Bizzyn has accomplished so far? I understand you started Bizzyn in 2019.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So we actually had a very amazing journey. We were recognized in 2022 as one of the best fintech startups in Tanzania. We raised our pre-seed in 2022 as well. And then we also selected among the 16 startups across Africa to attend the TechCrunch Startup Battlefield in San Francisco, United States of America last year. So all this comes with the impact that we are actually bringing into the continent. So far, those are the milestones, achievement that Bizzyn has acquired so far.
That's very impressive. And what plans do you have in the future for Bizzyn? How would we see Bizzyn in, say, 5 years from now? And how do you plan to grow?
Well, perfect. So we actually plan to provide the small business with the tools that enables them to manage the business. Our plan and our mind is to actually understand that the whole continent of Africa, small business, they're all facing the same kind of problem, and that is poor management of the business. They are using pen and paper to keep records. So our goal at first is actually to scale across the country here in Tanzania, and then to expand across the continent. So Bizzyn is actually visionizing on basing on that. So our goals in the next few coming years is to scale across the continent. We actually are aiming at becoming the #1 cloud and accounting financial management platform for the African SMEs. So there is where actually we see ourselves in the next 5 years to come.
That's ambitious and inspiring at the same time. I hope to be tracking your story on My Startup TV Africa. The Bizzyn story. I hope to be tracking it even more happily in the coming time. For our viewers, if you want to know more about how Bizzyn is going to work, please go and check out their website, www.bizzyn.com. And while you do that, please also don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, My Startup TV, on YouTube, and the different platforms that were mentioned earlier. I'll come back to you, Emmanuel. I have a few questions about what it means to be an entrepreneur in Tanzania, in East Africa. What challenges do you face, and what is the thing that makes you wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to do this? It doesn't matter what challenges come my way.
All right.
Sorry, am I audible?
Yes. You want me to respond to those questions, right?
Yeah, I am asking what it means to be an entrepreneur in Tanzania, Africa. What kind of infrastructure support you get, or what challenges you face, and what largely makes you wake up in the morning and say, hey, no problem. What the challenges are, I'm going to get this done.
Well, perfect. That's a really good question. So, being a founder in Bizzyn Africa, so there is huge opportunities. So it's a very rapid growing market in Africa. So we have competent, youth who are energetic, and actually tech savvy to run different kind of projects. So I'm really proud to be here, to be among the founders in Africa who are pioneering on the fintech side. So coming to the other question, basing on the challenges that with that actually we encounter. So the issue of regulatory is a bit an issue here. And so if everything will be worked around, then it's be perfect. And we actually believe that the government, most of the African governments, they actually have seen the potential for the fintech startups, for the startups in Africa in general, to bringing the impact into their countries and in the continent as well. So the governments in Africa, most of them, are providing conducive environment for the fintech or other startups in different sectors. To bootstrapping and providing a conducive environment. There's a few issues on part of regulatory, but I do believe they are workable, and most of the African countries, talking about the government, they actually are working on it, and it will become one of the wonderful continent for the African founders such as myself and the rest to operate and to work in. It's also bringing a very conducive environment even for the foreign investors who really want to come in Tanzania or in Africa, other countries in Africa to invest. So it's actually very, very conducive. Coming to the last question that you asked me about what really drives me. So what actually drives me and my team is how impactful we as business are in terms of helping these small businesses to have power of the financial data and accessing working capital. Because we're all coming from that kind of environment, you actually see the hassles that most of these small to medium to large business are facing. See, so our goal, our visions, that what drives us is to see the impact that these small businesses are going to see. So we actually believe that every small business deserves a chance to grow, and that's why we are here to help them achieving that. Thank you.
If you were to meet a young entrepreneur who's trying to do something similar, like a management software or a financial management software with cloud computing, and a very young person, what advice would you give that person as an entrepreneur to entrepreneur?
Well, perfect. So number one thing is being to be passionate, to have passion to what you're doing, and to actually understand the issues that I'm talking about, the problem. So understanding the problem and being passionate, have the passion towards what you're doing. So that's actually number one, and being consistent. The entrepreneurship journey is not a simple journey. It actually needs commitment. It actually needs a person who is committed towards whatever he or she actually believes in, and not give up. The road is not always straight. It has ups and downs. So there's times that you're down, but you don't have to give up. We call founder syndrome. So we all pass through that. But what makes us to be consistent is the passion that we have towards what we're doing. what the impact that you actually bring into the society. So I would have advised them to be passionate enough to actually understand the problem that is out to solve, and actually being committed towards the goal and not to give up no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one other question that is very particular to just this continent. African Union is generally largely can be split into francophone Africa and anglophone Africa, and these are two. They have their own independent ecosystems that are thriving by itself, and it's a general belief that to Africa to have a greater say in the global stage, it has to present itself as a one big important entrepreneurship ecosystem. What in your opinion, what are the different ways in which these two worlds can collaborate, if I may use this word loosely, the francophone Africa and the anglophone Africa? How do you think they can work together and create more opportunities for the young people in the continent?
Well, so I actually think maybe the African Union, especially when we're talking about the leaders who are real, are the ones who are actually making decisions. So Africa, they all have similar or relatable problems. The problems that Kenya or Tanzania or South Africa or Nigeria they're facing, they're almost similar. The issue is similar. So the thing is, I do believe that they have to come up with one solutions. Putting forward that the problem, the issues in terms of maybe if it requires technology or it requires anything. So they need to put those things forward and to collaborate all together. As I said, most of these issues they are actually relatable. So they need to come up with one solutions, one way forward towards solving the issues. They should come up with one thing that they actually believe that will address the issues in African continent.
Well, absolutely right. I hope our leaders are able to come up with these solutions and anglophone Africa, and I hope to see Bizzyn not only flourishing in East Africa but also all parts of Africa, whether it's North Africa or West or South Africa or Central Africa. Now I'll take you back to the studio. Coming back to our studio, Major. Our guest is all here to answer questions.
Emmanuel, I just quickly wanted to understand the funding environment in Africa and more specifically in Tanzania. Is it easy to find funding, especially with angel investors, or connect with VCs?
Well, as for the Indian investors who are investing in Tanzania, most of the investors are from European countries. I'm not seeing any from India. Maybe they are not publicly, announced. But I've seen the likely of Hindsight Venture. So Hindsight Venture is actually from India. So they are actually bringing to this some sort of accelerator program. So they're actually providing or assisting founders, startups. Connected them with potential investors. To be honest, I've not had any investors who was invested in startup in Tanzania. Maybe they are not publicly announced, but I do believe that there is a Hindsight Venture which connects startups and provides a gateway to India. So I think they have started working back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And another important factor for startups to thrive and be successful in any environment is to have enabling ecosystem. So if you could share, throw some light on the startup ecosystem in Tanzania and Africa in general, as to do you have regular events across Africa and also especially in Tanzania?
Well, I will start with Tanzania. So in Tanzania, we have moved a bit far, honestly, as compared to 5 years back. So we have different associations. We have Tanzania Startup Associations, whereby it actually really provides a very nice sites for the startups in Tanzania, providing them with, accessibility to investors, conferences, and other deals that are interested to for the startups. There is also the like of Tafina, which is Tanzania FinTech Associations. There's also Tanzania FinTech Festival, which takes place actually each and every year here in Tanzania. So all these associations, together with the Tanzanian Ministry for Science and Technology, they have been the key goals for the startups in Tanzania to prosper. So they actually are providing conducive environment for us. And when it comes to Africa in general, we have seen the like of Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Egypt as are the kings of Africa in terms of raising from investors. So Africa is actually a gateway. So Africa is actually growing up when it comes to to the growth of startups. There is a lot of young, energetic, and tech-savvy founders who are pioneering into this fintech environment. So it's actually expanding, and apart from that, even the governments they actually providing support. You can see, for instance, in Tanzania, even in Nigeria, in other countries, South Africa, Egypt. So the governments are also coming out and supporting these startups, providing them with an easy environment for them to operate. Not only to operate, but also to provide conducive environment for the investors who are coming in Africa to invest. So all goes hand by hand. So all this makes Africa as as a place for the foreign investors to come and and to invest. This is something which I'm very happy and very proud of that we are actually bringing solutions that are going to solve major issues of the globe.
Emmanuel, you're a tech startup, and India is known for IT, information technology. Have you had any collaboration with Indian startups or Indian companies? Do you get a chance to work or come to India? If yes, please do share your experience.
Well, perfect. We actually outsourced some parts on technology to 3 or 4 companies in India. I do believe that, and I actually see a potential working environment with tech companies in India. The thing I like from India, there's a lot of technology companies, and they are really working hard towards whatever that to bring them on table. When it comes to the issues of technology, it's all about how fast we deliver the product into the market. So we having the experience working with different companies in India in terms of technology and technology development to those companies. It has been awesome. It's really amazing, and I do believe one day I'll visit India actually to see how are they managing all these kind of things. So it has been a very very great opportunity for me to work with these companies in India. Yeah.
Let me remind our viewers that this is a live broadcast coming from Africa, Tanzania, and our guest is Emmanuel, who is the founder of a fintech SaaS startup, and our Africa correspondent Jayashree is bringing this program live from Africa. Over to you, Jayashree. I think there's an audio.
Thank you, Major. I think this should be our. I think this has been a very productive and fruitful interview.
So, Jayashree, the good part is that though this is the first broadcast, we have had our technical issues that happened. We are a startup ourselves, right? MyServe TV is startup itself. We have bootstrap startup, and we're attempting at broadcasting and between 2 different regions. And I think congratulations to you for the first episode of Live from Africa, and we hope to have more guests coming from Africa, across Africa, on our show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Major. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank
Good
you
evening to everyone.